I'm Dan Kennedy of the School of Journalism at Northeastern University. Recently, I had a chance to sit down with three smart people to talk about the future of local journalism. I began in Western Massachusetts when I sat down with Josh Stearns of the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation. As Director of Journalism Sustainability for the Foundation, Josh is studying 6 local news startups in New Jersey and New York. After that, I interviewed Meg Heckman, who's a journalism professor at the University of New Hampshire in Durham. Meg has studied the role of women at digital startups and at local news startups in particular, and we talked about the future of women in journalism. Finally, I interviewed Tim Coco, the president and general manager of WHAV Radio in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Tim is seeking a low-power FM license from the FCC for WHAV, which is currently an internet station. If he's successful, he plans to expand the reach and the news coverage of this venerable radio station.
So at the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, I'm working with a group of 6 local sites, and the idea is that they've signed up to basically experiment with us for 2 years, where they're going to let us run a series of experiments related to revenue sustainability and community engagement, with the hope that we can find the right mix for each local site and discover a couple things. One is, what new revenue models might we be able to create and foster in local communities? 2, how can we listen to local communities to make sure that we know that the revenue strategies that we're building are relevant to those communities? And 3, we want to figure out, how do you embed community engagement in a way that's deeply rooted in sustainability?
What I found in my research is that women were the most likely to hold leadership positions in smaller, hyper-local news organizations. And that was really exciting on a lot of levels, because there's so much interesting journalism and important work going on at the hyper-local level that it was really great to see so many women involved. That said, there's a real danger there that the work being done at the hyperlocal level will be feminized and undervalued from a financial sense. It's already hard enough to make money as a local journalist running a startup digital news organization. What will it mean if culturally we start thinking of that as women's work and put that into an area where it is not paid as much and not given the same amount of professional value and professional credibility that the more urban, less locally focused journalism is?
Well, WHAV returned as an internet station 10 years ago this year. And it happened because the call letters were associated with a station that had gone through mergers and consolidation, and finally no one even knew what the heritage of the station was. The frequency is used for something else now, and I immediately jumped on it, federally trademarked the name to make sure no one could actually reissue those as call letters, and began this long run toward rebuilding what has been a local legacy since 1947. And the new WHAV is much like the old WHAV, hyper-local, local people, local stories, lots of local names, subjects that some would consider boring, school committee and city council and the Haverhill police log, but nevertheless that's exactly the kind of news that's missing these days. I got my start at WHAV in 1978 and went on to daily newspaper reporting after that. And one of the things I learned is, frankly, newspaper reporters of old did a much better job with the news, and I wanted to bring that back to radio.
I think there's 3 ways that I would define success over the course of 2 years. I think we can only accomplish so much in 2 years, but I think we can see some starting points. So 1, the 6 pilot sites that we're looking at should be on their road to sustainability, which to me means not just that their books are in better shape in terms of their finances, but also that the people working at these sites feel better about the work that they're doing. Right now, most of these sites are working around the clock, dragging themselves out, ragged, trying to do the work of reporting and running a site. So I'd like sustainability to mean a couple things: longevity of the people and longevity of the site. And I think we would know that by seeing different revenue streams, not just ads, but also seeing an increase in the ads, because many of these sites are just getting off the ground. So part two, I think we'll see sites that are playing a different and more central role in their communities as conveners, as places where they're listening to the local community, where local issues are being discussed, either in person at events or on the site. And so that engagement we'll see will be much deeper at the end of 2 years. And then the last part, I think, we'll come out with a set of tools, research, and lessons that we can then extrapolate out to the nation at large. So we're working with Montclair State University and the CUNY School of Entrepreneurial Journalism to do both develop some in-depth trainings that can be replicated, but also some in-depth research on things like audience wants and needs around the news, around sales strategies, sales products, a whole bunch of things that relate to both community engagement and sustainability. So having those tools created and then getting them out to the nation at large for other news organizations to use, I think is another way we'll model success.